All right, so today we're going to talk about converting across measurement systems. So the one thing you really want to remember is this conversion chart is going to be your, you need to use this. You're going to look for all of your conversions on this. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to practice 3 problems that don't require you to use that chart. The conversion's right there in your problem. So looking at the very first one, it's 12 inches to 1 foot. So you're going to make that key. So 12 inches to 1 foot is equal to, and then we're looking at 82 inches. So we know that goes on top to match. And then X on the bottom. So we're going to cross multiply. 12x equals 82. And then you're going to divide by 12 on both sides. And when you divide this one by 12 on both sides, you get 82 divided by 12. You get a long repeating decimal. So you're just going to round it to the nearest hundredth. So that's going to give you 6.83. And then you make sure you label it as feet. Right, moving on to the next one. So with the next one, we can see that we are getting 1 pound is 16 ounces. So when we zoom in on that, we do 1 pound on top. The abbreviation for pound is LB over 16 ounces. And then we see that we have 17 pounds, so we're going to put that on top over X. When I cross multiply this one, it ends up giving me 1x equals 16 times 17 is going to give you your actual answer. So that answer is 272. And you're technically dividing by 1, or just your answer is 272 ounces. Right, the next one has 4 quarts to 1 gallon. So 4Q over 1G equals, and then we're starting with 112 quarts. So that matches the key on top, X on the bottom. This gives us 4X equals 112. And when I divide by 4 on both sides, 112 divided by 4, remember you can still use those calculators, gives you X is 28, and so 112 quarts is 28 gallons. So those are fairly easy because it's telling you the conversion right there in the problem. These next 6 problems, there are going to be no conversions, and you have to go back up to the top where I highlighted, and you have to actually look for the conversion. So in the very first one, I'm going to write down 4.5 gallons, and I'm looking for quarts. So that's going to be my X. I think it's a little confusing to write it like that, so I always just leave the X by itself. And then I have to go up to the top, and I have to look for something that's gallons and quarts. So until you get used to using this chart, it might take you a little bit, but it's right here, gallons and quarts. So 1 gallon is 4 quarts. So I wrote that in as my conversion. I'm going to zoom back in. So then that gives me 1x equals 4.5 times 4, which is 18. So that's 18 quarts. And this one you don't have to label because the label's already there for you. All right, we're going to go over to 38 fluid ounces. 38, and you can just write it as ounces. And we're looking for cups, so I make that X. So I have to go back over here, and I have to look, and I see cups and ounces in the same equal sign part. So that's your conversion. So I have to do 8 on top, because that's the ounces, 1 cup on bottom. So with this one, you're then going to get, when you cross multiply, you're going to get an equation. 8x equals 38. So this one will have to make you divide by 8 on both sides. So 38 divided by 8 is 4.75 cups. Moving right along, we have fluid ounces to pints. So 20 ounces over X equals, and we have to find one that's fluid ounces to pints. So if you notice, we've already done one fluid ounces to cups, so there isn't one to pints. So you have to see that there's fluid ounces to cups, and then there's cups to pints. So that is going to require us to use two proportions. So the first one is going to go ounces to cups because that's the only conversion factor we have. So we're going to do ounces over cups. And so that's 1 cup on the bottom, 8 ounces on top. So that's going to give us 8x equals 20. And like I said, it takes you getting used to where these are. You'll never have to memorize them, but you do have to know how to use them. So I have 2.5. So remember, that's cups. So I'm going to start my second proportion. So 2.5 cups over, and this time we know we're going to pints. That's our X. So go back to that table. So it's 1 pint is 2 cups. So 1 pint has to go on the bottom, 2 cups on top. That's 2x equals 2.5. Divide by 2 on both sides. And that gives me 1.25 cup or pints. So as you can see, these ones in that second row are a little bit more challenging because you have to go find the conversion. It's not given to you right directly next to the problem. And then in the last one, we had to do 2 different ones. So why don't you have the video? We're going to pause the video, and then I'm going to do these 3, but I want you to try these next 3 with a partner. And then we're going to come back and see how you guys did. Okay, so you should have tried these with a partner. So we're going to start with 1.5 tons. So 1.5 tons over ounces. And then we're going to look for the conversion in the chart. So I see it right here right away, but it doesn't convert to ounces. It converts to pounds. So I need to actually do 2 on this one. So I have to put pounds on the bottom. And then I'm going to do 1 ton over 2,000 pounds. So again, if you look at this really quickly, you can see that when I cross multiply, it's just going to give me my answer. 2,000 times 1.5, that's going to give me 3,000 pounds. So I'm going to have to do that second proportion. So 3,000 pounds over X ounces. Go back to the chart, that's 1 pound for 16 ounces. So if I just multiply that by 16, I get 48,000. On the next one, we have 54 inches, and I'm looking for yards on the bottom. And if you look way at the top, you can only go inches to feet and then to yards. So we have to do 2 again. So this is inches on top, feet on the bottom. This is probably a common one most of you know. So 12 inches is 1 foot. That's going to give us 12x equals 54. So 54 divided by 12 is 4.5. Remember, that's feet. And we want to go to yards. So I'm going to do feet over yards. There's 3 feet for every 1 yard. So that gives me 3x equals 4.5, which is going to leave me dividing by 3, which is 1.5 yards. Okay, I decided on this next one, you should have taken 4 conversions. So in order to go from gallons to fluid ounces, you have to use, and I'm going to erase all this highlight just to show you. And we'll go over it when I get back. You have to use every single one of these conversions. So you have to go ounces to cups, cups to pints, pints to quarts, quarts to gallons to get how many fluid ounces are in 3.5 gallons. Okay, so we're going to do the last two story problems. So a 50-kilometer walk. So I know I'm starting with 50 km is the longest track at the Olympics. And we want to know how long is this race in miles. So I'm looking for miles. These are actually metric and U.S. customary units put together. So I'm going to look over on the right-hand side of my conversion chart over in this area. And this one is kilometers to miles. So I'm going to do 1 kilometer on top, 0.62 miles on the bottom. So that's going to give me 1 km is X. So 50 times 0.62 is 31. So I know my answer is X is 31 miles. Okay, very last one. A math book weighs 1.7 kg and a social studies book weighs 2.3 kg. How many pounds do the books weigh together? So I know the very first thing I want to do is I want to add my kilograms, and then we're looking for pounds. So I'm going to do 3.8 kg over pounds, so X. So I know over here I need kilograms to pounds. And back in my conversion chart, kilograms to pounds is right below that kilograms to miles. So I'm going to do 1 kilogram over 2.2 pounds. So 3.8 times 2.2 is equivalent to 8.36. So X is equal to 8.36 pounds. And that's it. All right, so what you're going to do is you can work with a partner and you're going to do these 8 problems. Okay, you're going to do those 8 problems, and then you have your check for understanding and your weekly review to work on today.